First contact. The starship Horizon drifted silently through the inky blackness of space, its hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The ship's sensors had picked up an anomaly, a massive object approaching Earth at an alarming speed. Status report, Chen barked, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. Lieutenant Jake Rodriguez, the ship's science officer, furrowed his brow as he analyzed the incoming data. Captain, it's like nothing we've ever seen before. The object is roughly the size of Manhattan, and it's not slowing down. Chen's lips thinned into a tight line. Humanity had made great strides in space exploration over the past few decades, but they had yet to encounter any signs of intelligent alien life. Until now. Sound the alert. I want all hands at battle stations. Chen ordered, her mind racing through possible scenarios. And get me a direct line to Earth Command. As the Horizon's crew scrambled to their positions, the massive alien ship came into view. Its surface was a labyrinth of sharp angles and pulsating lights, utterly alien in design. Before Chen could open a channel to attempt communication, a beam of energy lanced out from the vessel, narrowly missing the Horizon. Evasive maneuvers, Chen shouted, gripping her command chair as the ship lurched to the side. Return fire. The Horizon's weapons systems came to life, launching a barrage of missiles at the alien craft. To the crew's shock, the projectiles seemed to pass right through the ship's hull, causing no damage. Our weapons are ineffective, Captain, Rodriguez reported, his voice tinged with disbelief. It's as if they're not even there. Chen gritted her teeth. Keep firing. We need to buy time for Earth to prepare its defenses. As the one-sided battle raged on, a harsh, guttural voice suddenly filled the bridge, emanating from every speaker on the ship. Pitiful humans, the voice growled. We are the Zarkath, and we have come to claim your world. Your primitive technology is no match for our superior might. Surrender now, and we may spare some of you as our servants. Chen's eyes blazed with determination. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Horizon. We will not surrender. Earth is our home, and we will defend it with everything we have. A deep, rumbling laugh echoed through the ship. Your bravery is amusing, but futile. We have conquered countless worlds, and yours will be no different. Your species is weak, fragile. You cannot hope to stand against us. As if to emphasize their point, the Zarkath ship unleashed another energy beam, this time striking the Horizon directly. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring as systems began to fail. Hull breach on decks 3 through 5. Rodriguez shouted over the chaos. We're losing power. Chen's mind raced. They were outgunned and outmatched, but she refused to give up. Humanity had faced seemingly insurmountable odds before and had always found a way to persevere. All hands, abandon ship. Chen ordered, her heart heavy, but her resolve unshaken. Get to the escape pods. We need to warn Earth about what's coming. As the crew rushed to evacuate, Chen remained on the bridge, coordinating the retreat and ensuring as much data as possible was transmitted back to Earth. The Zarkath ship loomed ever closer, its imposing presence a dark promise of the battle to come. Just as Chen was about to head for the last escape pod, a flash of inspiration struck her. She quickly accessed the ship's database, pulling up files on Earth's history, culture, and scientific achievements. Lieutenant Rodriguez, are you still there? She called out over the comm. Yes, Captain, came the strained reply. I'm sending you a data package. Make sure it gets to Earth Command. It's not just tactical information. It's everything that makes us human. Our art, our music, our literature, our scientific breakthroughs. If we're going to survive this, we need to remind ourselves and show our enemies what humanity is truly capable of. As the last of the data transferred, Chen sprinted for the escape pod. The Horizon exploded behind her just as the pod jettisoned into space, the force of the blast sending it tumbling end over end. As Chen regained her bearings, she looked out the pod's small window. The Earth hung there, a beautiful blue marble against the vast darkness of space. And beyond it, the Zarkaf ship continued its relentless approach. Chen's jaw set with grim determination. The Zarkaf had gravely underestimated humanity. They thought humans were weak, but they had no idea of the strength that lay in human creativity, adaptability, and sheer stubborn will to survive. "This isn't over," Chen whispered, her eyes fixed on her home planet. "We're just getting started." As the escape pod hurtled towards Earth, carrying with it a warning of the impending invasion and a testament to human achievement, the stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The Zarkaf were about to learn that humans were far more than the weak, primitive species they assumed them to be. Little did they know, humanity's greatest strength lay not in their technology or weapons, but in their unparalleled ability to adapt, to think outside the box, and to form connections with the most unlikely of allies. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and with it, a chance for humanity to show the universe what they were truly made of. The unlikely alliance. The aftermath of the Horizon's destruction sent shockwaves through Earth's defenses, as Captain Chen's escape pod streaked through the atmosphere. The planet below was a hive of frantic activity. Military bases worldwide scrambled into action, and civilian populations braced for the impending invasion. In the heart of the United Earth Defense Command, UEDC headquarters, General Marcus Reeves pored over the data transmitted by Chen's team. His weathered face was etched with concern as he addressed the assembled world leaders via holographic conference. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face an enemy unlike any we've encountered before," Reeves began, his voice grave. "The Zarkaf possess technology far beyond our current capabilities. But Captain Chen's final transmission contains more than just tactical data. It reminds us of who we are and what we're fighting for." As images of human achievements flashed across the screens, a spark of hope ignited in the eyes of those watching. Reeves continued, "We may be outgunned, but we have something the Zarkaf don't understand: the indomitable human spirit." Just then, an alarm blared through the command center. A young lieutenant rushed in, her eyes wide. "Sir, we're detecting another anomaly. It's not the Zarkaf. It's something else." On the main view screen, a shimmering portal materialized in Earth's orbit. From it emerged a fleet of sleek, organic-looking ships, their hulls pulsing with soft, bioluminescent light. "First contact is now first contacts," someone muttered in disbelief. Before anyone could react, a gentle, melodic voice resonated through the command center's communication systems. "People of Earth, we are the Lumi. We come seeking refuge and alliance against our common enemy, the Zarkaf." Reeves exchanged glances with the world leaders. This was unprecedented. An alien race reaching out for help rather than conquest. "This is General Marcus Reeves of Earth. We're listening." The main screen flickered, revealing a being of ethereal beauty. The Lumi ambassador, Zira, had translucent skin that seemed to glow from within, with large, expressive eyes that reflected starlight. "For centuries, the Zarkaf have terrorized our galaxy," Zira explained, her voice tinged with sorrow. "They destroy or enslave every civilization they encounter. We, the Lumi, have fled from world to world, always one step ahead of their expansion. But now, we can run no longer." Reeves leaned forward, intrigued. "Why come to us? Surely you've seen that we're technologically outmatched." Zira's expression softened. "We have observed your kind from afar. Humans possess a quality rare in the universe, an unbreakable will to survive, paired with a capacity for kindness even in the darkest times. We believe that together we might stand a chance against the Zarkaf." As discussions between Earth's leaders and the Lumi continued, Captain Sarah Chen was ushered into the command center. Her eyes widened at the sight of Zira on the screen. "Captain Chen," Reeves called out, "your perspective would be invaluable here." You faced the Zarkaf firsthand. Chen stepped forward, her gaze meeting Zira's. The Zarkaf are formidable, but not invincible. They underestimate us, and that's their weakness. If we combine our strengths, human ingenuity and whatever the Lumi bring to the table, we might just have a fighting chance. Zira nodded, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. We offer our advanced biotechnology and our deep understanding of Zarkaf tactics. But we lack the courage to stand and fight. We have always fled. Perhaps humans can teach us to be brave. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. As the Zarkaf fleet drew ever closer, humans and Lumi worked tirelessly to integrate their technologies and strategies. The Lumi's organic ships, capable of self-repair and powered by renewable bioenergy, were merged with human weapons systems and tactical AI. But more than just a technological exchange, a cultural fusion began to take place. Humans, with their rich history of overcoming adversity, shared stories of triumph against impossible odds. The Lumi, in turn, opened up about their millennia of peaceful existence before the Zarkaf threat and their struggle to find the will to fight back. In a makeshift laboratory, Dr. Aisha Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, worked alongside Lumi scientists to develop biological countermeasures against Zarkaf weaponry. As they worked, Aisha noticed her Lumi colleagues becoming increasingly anxious as news of the approaching Zarkaf fleet filtered in. "Hey," Aisha said softly, placing a hand on the shoulder of Nyx, her Lumi counterpart. "I know you're scared. We all are. But you know what humans do when we're scared." Nyx's luminescent skin pulsed with curiosity. "What do you do?" Aisha smiled. "We face our fears head-on. We've learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And right now, we're going to face this fear together." As Aisha's words sank in, a change came over Nyx and the other Lumi. Their bioluminescence brightened, as if reflecting a newfound determination. Meanwhile, in the UEDC's strategy room, Captain Chen and Zira pored over battle plans. Chen couldn't help but notice how the Lumi ambassador had changed since their first meeting. There was a new steel in Zira's eyes, a resolve that hadn't been there before. "You've taught us so much in such a short time," Zira mused, her gaze fixed on the holographic battle simulations. "Not just about fighting, but about standing up for what's right, about hope in the face of overwhelming odds." Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "And you've taught us that there's more to strength than firepower. Your people's empathy, your connection to the living universe. These are powerful in ways we're only beginning to understand." Their conversation was interrupted by General Reeves' urgent voice over the intercom. "They're here. The Zarkaf fleet has entered the solar system." Chen and Zira exchanged a look of grim determination. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of both their species, and perhaps the entire galaxy. As alarms blared and both humans and Lumi rushed to their battle stations, there was a palpable sense of unity. Two vastly different species, brought together by circumstance, now stood as one against a common threat. The Zarkaf's imposing warships darkened the skies as they approached Earth. But this time, humanity wasn't alone. The combined Earth-Lumi fleet rose to meet them, a dazzling array of human ingenuity and Lumi biotechnology. As the first shots were fired, illuminating the darkness of space, one thing became clear. The Zarkaf had severely underestimated the power of this unlikely alliance. They had expected to find a primitive, isolated species ripe for conquest. Instead, they faced a united front of human determination and Lumi wisdom, ready to fight for their right to exist in the vastness of the cosmos. The battle for Earth and the future of galactic civilization had begun. Human ingenuity unleashed. The vastness of space erupted into a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions as the Earth-Lumi alliance engaged the Zarkaf fleet. Despite their combined efforts, the sheer technological superiority of the Zarkaf was evident. Their energy shields effortlessly deflected most of the alliance's attacks, while their weapons tore through the defenders' lines with terrifying efficiency. In the heat of the battle, Captain Sarah Chen found herself aboard the flagship of the combined fleet, a hybrid vessel that married human tactical systems with Lumi biotechnology. As another blast rocked the ship, she gritted her teeth, her mind racing for a solution. "Our conventional weapons are barely making a dent," she muttered, studying the tactical display. Beside her, Zyra's bioluminescence pulsed with anxiety. "The Zarkath have had millennia to perfect their war machine," Zyra said, her voice tinged with despair. "How can we hope to overcome such odds?" Chen's eyes narrowed, a spark of inspiration igniting in her mind. "Maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. We're trying to beat them at their own game, but what if we change the rules entirely?" She quickly opened a channel to Dr. Aisha Patel's lab. "Aisha, I need you to think outside the box. What if we combine your biological countermeasures with our most unconventional weapons? Something the Zarkath would never expect." Aisha's eyes widened as she caught on to Chen's train of thought. "You mean like biological EMP, or weaponized sound waves tuned to disrupt their neural patterns?" "Captain, that's brilliant." As Aisha and her team threw themselves into this new line of research, Chen turned to the fleet's engineering corps. "I want every wild idea, every crazy invention you've been sitting on because it was too risky or unconventional. Now's the time to unleash them all." What followed was a whirlwind of human creativity unleashed. Engineers who had been tinkering with experimental propulsion systems suddenly found their ideas fast-tracked into production. Theoretical physicists were paired with Lumi biologists to create weapons that bent the very fabric of space-time. One junior engineer, Tommy Zhang, approached Chen with an idea so audacious it bordered on the absurd. "Captain, what if we weaponize memes?" Chen blinked, momentarily taken aback. "Memes? As in internet jokes?" Tommy nodded enthusiastically. "The Zarkath communication systems are based on complex algorithms, right? What if we flood their networks with an overwhelming amount of nonsensical data? Memes, jokes, puns, all carefully crafted to exploit the weaknesses in their language processing systems." To everyone's surprise, the idea worked. The Zarkath ships began to show signs of confusion as their communication networks were overloaded with everything from lolcats to obscure movie references. Meanwhile, Aisha's team had a breakthrough. They developed a biological agent that, when combined with specific sound frequencies, could temporarily disrupt the Zarkath's neural pathways. It wasn't lethal, but it left the enemy disoriented and unable to effectively operate their advanced technology. As these unconventional tactics were deployed, the tide of the battle slowly began to turn. Zarkath ships, once impenetrable fortresses, now drifted aimlessly as their crews struggled to regain control of their compromised systems. But the real game changer came from an unexpected source. A group of video game designers, led by a young prodigy named Mai Tanaka, approached Chen with an idea inspired by classic space combat games. "Their ships are too advanced for direct attacks," Mai explained, her eyes shining with excitement. "But what if we use our smaller, more maneuverable craft to exploit the weak points in their defenses? Like in the games, we find the exhaust port, the critical juncture, and strike there with precision." Chen nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "It's so crazy, it just might work. Assemble a team of our best pilots. We'll call them the Viper Squadron." The Viper Squadron, a mix of seasoned fighter pilots and skilled gamers, took to space in agile craft designed by the combined efforts of human and Lumi engineers. These ships, small enough to slip through gaps in the Zarkath's energy shields, were armed with concentrated versions of Aisha's neural disruptors and other unconventional weapons. As the main fleet engaged the Zarkath head-on, the Viper Squadron darted between the massive enemy ships, striking at vulnerable points with surgical precision. They moved with a fluidity that seemed to defy the laws of physics, their maneuvers more akin to a deadly dance than traditional space combat. The Zarkath, for all their advanced technology, found themselves outmaneuvered by the sheer unpredictability of human tactics. Their rigid, algorithmic approach to warfare faltered in the face of human creativity and adaptability. As another Zarkath dreadnought fell to the combined assault of meme warfare, biological agents, and precision strikes, Chen allowed herself a moment of hope. They were far from victory, but for the first time since the invasion began, it felt within reach. Zaira, watching the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and disbelief, turned to Chen. "I've never seen anything like this. The way your people think, the way you adapt and innovate. It's unlike anything in the galaxy." Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "It's who we are. Throughout our history, we've faced countless challenges, and each time, we've survived by thinking differently, by refusing to accept defeat." As the battle raged on, news of the Alliance's unexpected success spread throughout the galaxy. Other species, long cowed by the Zarkath's might, began to take notice. Humanity, this young, seemingly primitive race from a backwater planet, was doing the impossible. They were beating the unbeatable foe. But even as hope blossomed, Chen knew the war was far from over. The Zarkath, though caught off guard, were regrouping. Their vast armada still outnumbered the Alliance fleet, and they would not underestimate humanity a second time. As reports came in of a massive Zarkath counterattack forming, Chen steeled herself for the next phase of the battle. Humanity had proven its worth, showcasing the incredible power of human ingenuity. But now, they would need to dig even deeper to find strength not just in their minds, but in their hearts. The true test of humanity's place in the galaxy was yet to come. The power of empathy. As the Zarkath regrouped for a massive counterattack, the Earth-Lumi alliance found itself at a crossroads. Despite their initial successes, the enemy's superior numbers and recovering battle strategies threatened to overwhelm them. In the command center of the Alliance flagship, Captain Sarah Chen and her team grappled with their next move. "We've thrown everything we have at them," Lieutenant Rodriguez said, his voice heavy with fatigue. "Our unconventional tactics won't surprise them a second time." Chen nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "We need something more, something they can't counter with technology or brute force." It was then that Dr. Aisha Patel burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement. "Captain, I think I've found something. It's not a weapon, exactly, but it might be our key to ending this war." All eyes turned to Aisha as she activated a holographic display. "We've been so focused on fighting the Zarkath that we never stopped to ask why they're fighting us. Look at this." The display showed a series of complex biological scans of a captured Zarkath soldier. Their aggression, their need for conquest. It's not just cultural. It's physiological. Their entire species is driven by a deep-seated fear and pain that they don't even understand. Chen leaned forward, intrigued. "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying that the Zarkath aren't evil. They're suffering. Their biology is pushing them towards aggression as a survival mechanism. But what if we could help them? What if, instead of fighting them, we could heal them?" The room fell silent as the implications of Aisha's words sank in. It was Zira who spoke first, her bioluminescence pulsing with a mix of hope and skepticism. "But how? The Zarkath have never shown any interest in peace. They've rejected every attempt at diplomacy." Aisha smiled. "That's where human empathy comes in. We're not just going to talk to them. We're going to show them who we are, make them feel what we feel. And for that, we're going to need volunteers." What followed was perhaps the most daring plan in the history of interstellar conflict. As the Zarkath fleet approached, preparing for what they thought would be the final battle, a small team of humans and Lumi prepared for a different kind of confrontation. Led by Captain Chen, Dr. Patel, and a group of Earth's most skilled diplomats, empaths, and psychologists, the team boarded a small, unarmed vessel. Their mission: to penetrate the Zarkath flagship and establish direct, mind-to-mind contact with the enemy leadership. As they approached the massive Zarkath ship, Tensions ran high. "Remember," Chen said to her team, "our strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our humanity. Our ability to understand, to connect, to forgive. That's what we're bringing to this fight." Using a combination of Lumi cloaking technology and the confusion sowed by their previous unconventional tactics, the team managed to dock with the Zarkaf flagship undetected. As they made their way through the alien corridors, they were struck by the stark, utilitarian design, a ship built for war, with no concession to comfort or beauty. Finally, they reached the ship's central chamber, where the Zarkaf High Command was coordinating the attack. The doors hissed open, and for a moment, both sides froze in shock. The Zarkaf, towering beings with exoskeletons that seemed forged from living metal, reached for their weapons. But before they could attack, Aisha activated the device they had prepared, a combination of Lumi biotechnology and human brainwave amplifiers. In an instant, the chamber was filled with a flood of human experiences, emotions, and memories. The Zarkaf staggered, overwhelmed by the sudden influx of alien sensations. Ken stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We're not here to fight you," she said, her voice steady. "We're here to understand you, and to help you understand us." What followed was an unprecedented exchange. The humans and Lumi opened their minds, sharing their joys, their sorrows, their hopes and fears. They showed the Zarkaf the beauty of Earth's diverse ecosystems, the warmth of human love, the thrill of scientific discovery, and the pain of loss. In turn, they received flashes of the Zarkaf's history, a story of a species driven to the brink of extinction, twisting their own biology to survive, and ultimately losing touch with the very emotions that made life worth living. Hours passed as the two sides communicated on this deep primal level. Slowly, the Zarkaf's aggressive postures began to soften. Some fell to their knees, overwhelmed by emotions they hadn't felt in millennia. The Zarkaf leader, a being called Vexkar, finally spoke. His voice, once harsh and guttural, now trembled with newfound understanding. We had forgotten. The pain, the fear, it drove us for so long. We thought conquest was the only way to ensure our survival. But this, what you've shown us, there is another way, isn't there? Chen nodded, tears streaming down her face. There is always another way. War isn't the answer. Cooperation is. Together, we can heal the wounds that have driven your people for so long. We can find a place for everyone in this vast galaxy. As the reality of what had transpired sank in, the Zarkaf High Command issued orders to stand down. Across the battlefield, weapons fell silent as the news spread. The war that had threatened to annihilate entire civilizations had been ended not by superior firepower, but by the power of human empathy. In the days that followed, the Alliance worked tirelessly to help the Zarkaf. Human and Lumi scientists collaborated to develop treatments for the physiological issues driving their aggression. Cultural exchange programs were established, allowing the former enemies to learn from each other. As news of the unprecedented peace spread across the galaxy, other species emerged from hiding, eager to join this new era of cooperation. Humanity, once seen as a primitive backwater species, was now hailed as the catalyst for a galactic renaissance. Chen, standing on the observation deck of the Alliance flagship, watched as ships from dozens of species converged around Earth. Zira joined her, her bioluminescence glowing with contentment. "You've changed everything," Zyra said softly. "Not just for us, or the Zarkaf, but for the entire galaxy." Chen smiled, her gaze fixed on the stars. "We just did what humans have always done. We faced our challenges with open minds and open hearts, and in doing so, we've taken our first real steps into the galactic community." As they stood there, watching the dawn of a new era, both knew that the greatest adventures and challenges still lay ahead. But now, united in understanding and empathy, the species of the galaxy were ready to face whatever the universe had in store. A new galactic order. In the months following the unprecedented peace with the Zarkath, the galaxy underwent a transformation unlike any in recorded history. Earth, once a remote outpost on the fringes of known space, now found itself at the center of a new galactic order. The United Earth Defense Command Headquarters, previously a fortress of military might, had been repurposed into the Galactic Cooperation and Exchange Center. Its halls bustled with activity as representatives from hundreds of species came together to forge a new future. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood before a massive window overlooking the sprawling complex. The view never failed to take her breath away. Sleek Lumi ships glided alongside bulky Zarkath cruisers, while dozens of other alien craft dotted the sky, each unique in design and purpose. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" a familiar voice said behind her. Chen turned to see Dr. Aisha Patel, her old friend and now the head of the Interspecies Medical and Scientific Exchange Program. Chen nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "Sometimes I still can't believe it. A year ago, we were fighting for our very existence. Now we're hosting the first Galactic Cultural Festival." Aisha chuckled. "And to think, it all started with memes and empathy." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Zura and Vexkar, the former Zarkath military leader. The once fearsome warrior now moved with a gentler demeanor, his exoskeleton modified to appear less threatening. "Admiral, Doctor," Vexkar rumbled, his voice a mix of old harshness and new warmth. "The delegations are ready for the opening ceremony." As they made their way to the Grand Assembly Hall, Chen marveled at how far they had come. The hall itself was a testament to the new galactic order, its architecture a harmonious blend of styles from dozens of worlds, a physical manifestation of the cooperation that now defined interstellar relations. The ceremony began with a series of speeches from representatives of various species. Each spoke of the changes brought about by the Earth-Lumi alliance and the subsequent peace with the Zarkath. But it was the human ability to empathize, to reach out and understand even their greatest enemies, that was consistently highlighted as the catalyst for this new era. When it was Chen's turn to speak, she approached the podium with a sense of purpose. Looking out at the sea of diverse faces, some humanoid, others utterly alien, she felt the weight of the moment. "Friends, allies, fellow citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice carrying across the silent hall. "A year ago, humanity stood on the brink of annihilation. We were alone, outgunned, and facing an enemy we barely understood. But in our darkest hour, we discovered something profound, not just about ourselves, but about the very nature of life in this vast universe." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. "We learned that our greatest strength lies not in our technology, not in our weapons, but in our capacity for understanding and compassion. We learned that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit, the spirit of empathy, creativity, and unwavering determination, can overcome any obstacle." As Chen continued, holographic displays around the hall showcased Earth's history, from its earliest civilizations to the moment of first contact. Humanity's story is one of constant adaptation, of facing challenges and emerging stronger. But it's also a story of connection, of reaching out to others, and finding common ground. She gestured to Zira and Vexkar, standing proudly beside her. "Our alliance with the Lumi showed us the power of cooperation between different species. Our peace with the Zarkath proved that even the bitterest of enemies can become the closest of friends, if we only take the time to understand one another." The hall erupted in applause as Chen concluded her speech. "As we stand here today, at the dawn of a new galactic era, let us remember the lessons we've learned. Let us continue to reach out, to explore, to understand. For in doing so, we not only enrich our own lives, but strengthen the very fabric of our galactic community." As the ceremony transitioned into a celebration, with music and art from hundreds of worlds filling the air, Chen found a quiet moment to reflect. Earth was no longer just a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system. It had become a beacon of hope, a symbol of what was possible when different species came together in peace and understanding. The challenges ahead were many. There were still hostile forces in the galaxy, civilizations that viewed the new alliance with suspicion or outright hostility. The task of healing the Zarkath was ongoing, and integrating so many diverse species into a cohesive galactic community would be the work of generations. But as Chen watched a group of human children playing with young Lumi and Zarkath, their laughter transcending language and species barriers, she felt a surge of hope. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, not through conquest or technological superiority, but through its capacity for empathy, innovation, and unbreakable spirit. The stars, once a distant frontier, now beckoned with the promise of new discoveries, new friendships, and new challenges to overcome. And humanity, with its unique blend of creativity, determination, and compassion, was ready to lead the way into this bright new future. As the celebration continued around her, Admiral Sarah Chen smiled. The journey ahead would be long and undoubtedly filled with obstacles. But she knew that together, humans, Lumi, Zarkath, and all the species of the galaxy, they would face whatever came next with open minds, open hearts, and the indomitable spirit that had brought them this far. The age of isolation was over. The era of galactic cooperation had begun. And at its heart stood humanity, no longer alone in the universe, but at the center of a cosmic community, ready to write the next chapter in the grand story of life among the stars.